Hello! Today we're going to talk about making hair for your family hangout figures. There's so many choices of hairs you can do. You can do curly hair, straight hair, and lots of it. You can make it in a style, like that. You can do it highlight. You can do pigtails. But the best thing to do is start with lots of it, longer than you want, and then cut it if needed. If you're planning on using a hat, you won't need a lot, but you'll still want to start with a normal head of hair so it can stick out from underneath and look cute. If you're planning on doing a hairstyle, you want to make sure that you've got longer than you need, and then you can cut it back if needed. It can be kind of wild and sticking out. There's some more sticking out from under a hat. All right, well, let's get going. I've been working on a set of figures in different costumes with a Halloween theme with Riley Blake fabrics, and today I need to make their hair. To begin, for the back of the man's hair, I've wrapped dark brown, which is the color of his hair, around a 3-inch section of cardboard. Wrapped it round and round. That's for the back section. For the bangs, it's nice to have it a little shorter. And I've wrapped around a 2-inch section, and I will put that in front of the 3-inch section and sew them together as one. All right, now you can see that I have the 2-inch section and the 3-inch section and the 2-inch section next to each other. I haven't bothered to snip the loops yet. I've used clear thread in the top and bottom, the bobbin and the spool, and that's great, except for the same thing that makes clear thread wonderful also makes it next to impossible, because you feel like you're doing a pantomime as you sew, because you can't really see it, but yet it's great because you don't have to keep changing your thread if you're doing multiple ones. So I've got my fingers spread on either side of the... It doesn't that much matter if they separate a little bit because you're going to be pushing them together and gluing them, stitching them in place. So you're just kind of shoving it through. I hope you can see this. Just kind of pushing it down the middle. Now, if someone has a side part, you want to put it a little off to the side. But this fellow has a hat anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I just want hair sticking out around the brim. All right. So now we have the piece that's sewn. You can see the narrow area is the front. That's intended to be the bangs. I'm going to snip the loops through, and with whimsical hair, it's not important that they're exactly even. We're going to be giving them a barbershop job anyway. So I'm just kind of going through and catching them. If I miss a few, I'll get them later. This is supposed to be fun, so relax and enjoy it. Okay, got a few left. I'm cutting that invisible thread off, but I can get it later if I see that I've missed it. Okay, this is basic basic way to do bangs. Usually you end up with this long little piece in front, and I like to fold it under so it's double thick and you have a fold at the front instead of the end of a seam. Now we'll stick it on Baldy here. Come on, hold still. And kind of lay it, let's see, so that it's in the front and kind of going down the middle of the back. I like to just pin it in place at first to see it. Just stick some straight pins right in and kind of hold it there, give it a look over, and you can see that it's kind of sticking out the sides. This is what we need because it doesn't really grow out of the sides. It's just coming along, and you can kind of stitch it to the front, pulling it front if you want more to show in the front. That's why it needs to be a little longer, and if you have longer hair on the person you're making, you could make it stick out even further, and then you'd be able to let it be even more visible. All right. I like to use glue, liquid stitch, or any kind of fabric glue, just to glue it in place these days. Sometimes I'll stitch. Now, if you are doing a woman or a girl, or I guess a male with earrings, you would want to go through the back of the head and come out the ears and put the earrings on first, because once you've glued or stitched hair in place, it's a little trickier to do that. But this guy does not have earrings. So I'm just going to stitch that in place. Some big stitches or glue, or maybe a little of both, just depending what it needs. Everybody's different, and I treat their hair as it comes, kind of. This one's going to be wearing a hat. He's Y-man, becoming a university man. And I want it to sort of position the hair the way it should be. And I'll take my pins out and stick it through the hat. And then what I do is I just take all my pinned items downstairs in the evening. My husband's home, and I'll sit and watch TV with him, or news or sports or something, and I'll just sit and enjoy all my handwork. Sometimes I'll do it in the day to a movie, but that's what I like to do. It's relaxing at the end of the day to take a few stitches of something that will remain when the day is over. A lot of things are so cyclical. Anyway, that's one. That's how you do shorter male hair. When I turned this fellow over thinking I was probably done, I realized that the hair was longer in back than I wanted, so I'm giving him a little trim. You kind of need to pull it up since it's separated by the part. Pull it up, fluff it a little bit, and just trim it the way you want. It's not super particular. You just want there to be hair and the right color of it, and do a final check after you've got it all stitched on. See if you might need to add a little bit more. You can add some pieces of yarn and just stitch them in or glue them in, or if you really want a lot more hair than you have, you can make a whole nother set of hair and lay it over the top, and it really won't show. Once you stitch it on, it'll just be a little fuller and more of it. This young lady pirate, purple pirate, needs kind of a black-haired pixie cut. I just made it a little longer than the man's, and I didn't end up making a shorter section for the bangs because I didn't know how I was going to want to cut it. I just measured. I went down to a little bit below above the shoulder and kind of went up and over, and I took that length and wound it around a card to get a thickness like this. I sewed it down the center, and I ended up folding it over in front so that you have the folded edge instead of the thread, and just laying it on to see what I had. I like to pin it in place. And then you kind of have to see what you have now with a cut that's precise cut, like a wedge or a pixie or something. You're just going to have kind of a wild hair sticking out thing, because it's just whimsical and you can't be exact. But you can get the color and the approximate length and try to capture some of the feel of their hair. You can always add little barrettes or flowers or hairbands or ribbons if you want on a female's hair. And but this one's going to have a pirate scarf. Okay, so here is some hair. It's already sewn down the middle, and we're ready to put it on the figure. Just lay it over, kind of place it, see how you'd like it to be, whether up farther or back. Just kind of lay it where it goes, and you can attach it with glue. That's especially good if you're just putting a hat over the top. Or you can take a needle and thread and just Get it in the back a little bit, take a couple stitches. It won't show, so it's not critical exactly how it looks. Lay it over, realizing that you can cut it as long as you haven't made it too short. And take some large stitches, just some big stitches. Usually it's good to take them around where the part is. And depending on your hairstyle, you don't want to mess it up. If you're planning to do pigtails or something, you don't want to do it in the side and take the hair that you're going to pull up into a little ponytail or something. But for these purposes, that would be enough. I might put a little glue around the back and sides once I've got the hat on. This one's going to be the witch. Generally in the back, where you have the part sewn, it'll come down and it'll